What is your creepiest horror story that is actually true? I discovered I had a stalker when I was 18 and living on my own for the first time. It had seemed for a while like I was missing a lot of my favorite panties, but I just assumed they fell behind the dryer or something. I was working late and was tired all the time. I didn't think too hard about it. My friend asked me if he could borrow my car to get to work, and my shift wasn't until that evening, so I said no problem. I met him early in the morning, handed over the keys, then trudged back upstairs and went to bed. I woke up at the sound of keys jingling outside my door. I assumed it was maintenance for our building, but the sound of jingling continued, until finally it turned into a scratching. I realized someone was picking the lock to my door. I yelled out my friend's name, to see if maybe he had returned with my car already, but no response. The picking of the lock continued, maybe quicker now, and I stifled a scream. I didn't know what to do. Had they heard me through the door? I looked at my phone, only 8:30 am, no way my friend was off work already. Someone was breaking in. I dialed 911 in a frenzy, couldn't hardly see the numbers through tears, knowing all too well they couldn't get here in time. So I slunk carefully out of bed, trying not to make a sound, and I heard the 911 operator answer. I whispered my address into the phone, but I don't know if they heard. I tried to squeeze under the bed, but it was too low to the ground. I cursed to myself, looking for a place to hide, then finally squeezed to the back of my closet. It was so full of poop I couldn't close the door all the way, and I just prayed that whoever was breaking in wouldn't look between the hanging sweaters and shirts. The 911 operator kept asking questions, but at that moment the door swung open, and with adrenaline kicking in, I turned my phone volume all the way down. I could see him but he couldn't see me. He looked like he was in his 40s wearing worn-out jeans and a paint-splattered hoodie. I hid there, with one hand over my mouth, eyes darting from my phone on the active call to the strange man in my apartment. I remember it felt like it had been hours since I called them, but the phone said the call had lasted for only less than a minute. He closed the door behind him, began mulling around my apartment, picking my cross-country trophies up off the shelves, inspecting them, putting them back exactly where he found them. He was flipping through a couple of my books, found my high school yearbook, and I nearly threw up in my mouth when he stroked the page with my face on it. Then finally he came into my bedroom, mere feet from me now, and when I smelled the stale cigarette smoke on him I thought I would scream. He went to the bed, leaned over and smelled my pillow, then my sheets. He dug through my dirty laundry, moaning at the smell of my panties, then went out into the living room where I couldn't see him anymore. I waited forever for him to leave, but he never did. I was stuck in my closet, unsure if he had left or not, until I finally got the sense to Google how to text 911. I did so, then texted my family and my friends as well, assuring them that I was okay, but there was a strange man in my apartment. Police OTW. They were all freaking out, calling and texting me, and I had to respond telling them I was hiding in a effing closet. Finally, the door closed. He left. I called 911 again, ran to the window, waited, then I saw him. He was climbing into a beat-up old Corvette, and he looked up at my window. I still don't know if he saw the blind shift when I panicked and fell back. He peeled off out of the parking lot. I told the 911 dispatcher my address, and my description of the guy. It didn't take them long to find him. He was a mechanic at the effing auto shop I went to a few weeks ago. He had been following me, learning my schedule since I got my oil changed. The police told me that he had assumed I had gone to work when my friend borrowed my car. I'll never forget the whiff of stale cigarette smoke I smelled on him when I testified against him in court. The same stink that nearly made me throw up in my closet.